For the past 2 weeks now in Georgia, it's actually been really cold that things are starting to freeze over. Some examples would be like these full-size fountains starting to freeze over in Atlanta, in like smaller puddles you may see around. Also, like runoff on the side of sidewalks from sewers are starting to freeze. The last time we experienced this type of weather was back in late January 2014. What had happened is Atlanta had been hit with an ice storm that just completely swept us off our feet and caused chaos throughout the state. The result was cars sliding their way under bigger vehicles, car crashes, and people getting stuck in their cars overnight. At one point, things got so bad that kids got stuck on buses in the middle of the road and highways and weren't rescued until as late as 3 a.m. Even a few days after the storm, people were still driving slowly. Everyone was trying to figure out who to blame for this whole ordeal, that Georgia basically became gridlocked. Originally, the media blamed the governor, and the governor blamed the people of the state, but in reality, we were just not prepared to drive in these conditions. The governor was alerted by the weather service early in the morning that a storm was coming to Atlanta, but he didn't really think much of it until later in the day when the signs were more apparent. He told all the governor offices to close and send their employees home, along with schools and local businesses. The result of this happening was everyone trying to go on the highways at one time, but by this time the ice had already hit the streets, causing everyone to either crash or get stranded where they were. In the midst of everyone trying to find who to blame for this whole mess, I think we should instead implement ways to better prepare ourselves for the next time this happens. With all the wreckage and blame aside, I really just wanted to see what other people thought about the whole situation, so I decided to interview a few of my peers and relatives. When Georgia highways were covered in ice and snow, were you stranded anywhere? If so, where?
During the ice storm, I was stranded for a good 6 to 8 hours off of Georgia 400, and it was a pretty interesting experience.
I was locked outside of my house for about 6 hours because I didn't have a key.
I was stranded on the street for a little bit because there was ice on the street. But then, well, I was really close to home, so I was able to walk. But we had to leave the car in the middle of the road.
Yeah, I got stranded. My car broke down and I went to the MARTA station and I had to wait for a bus that never arrived.
What do you think caused Georgia to become gridlocked?
What I think caused Georgia to become gridlocked was, I guess, the non-preparation that we have in this state as far as when it comes to colder weather and stormy weather, and I guess in particular snow and ice.
I have no idea.
I don't know what that is, Red.
I believe the reason that the roads were gridlocked is just because we're not prepared in our city to have ice and snow.
With the current weather conditions, what do you think the possibility of this happening again
With
is?
the current weather conditions, I don't really see a strong possibility of colossal ice storm to affect us again this year. But I don't know. I didn't really see the last year's coming either, though. So, but I think we should be fine.
It might happen, but I highly doubt it.
I think it's about a 50-50 chance that it'll happen again this year.
Do you think we will be better prepared for the next time ice hits the streets of Atlanta?
I think Georgia should be pretty well prepared if 2 inches of snow and ice builds up again. I don't see any reason why not. A major catastrophe like national, butts of many jokes. I think Georgia will pick it back up if that ever happened again.
Probably not.
Yeah, I feel like a little bit more prepared because now people know that it's possible for it to snow here.
Yeah, I believe the city will be better prepared if it should occur again.
What is the worst experience you've had with cold weather / snow?
I think probably last year's ice storm was probably the worst time I've ever had with snow or cold weather. I spent a long time waiting in my car, waiting at a gas station, walking to a gas station, waiting there, being, moderately cold.
Well, I used to live in Minnesota, so every day was the worst thing.
The worst experience I've ever had with snow is that when we were walking across the street, my brother, he just stopped walking.
My worst experience with cold weather and snow was last year at when my car broke down, got stranded at the bus station for several hours, and had to spend 2 days away from my house.
What do you think the northern states think of us, considering they are used to these driving conditions?
What I think the northern states, northerners and everything, I think they probably think that we're pretty ridiculous.
Probably laughing at us quietly in the corner.
Northern states, I actually have experience from the northern people because they started laughing at my family because my cousins are from Boston. So they thought that we suck at driving.
I believe the people in the northern states thought it was funny that us Southerners couldn't drive in the bad conditions.